It's more than just your output, more than a bike. When you hear your shout out, you know it's all right. Put on your magic pants and let's go. We're cruising into the power zone. Clip in, set yourself free. Come on and take a ride with me. Know what you need to know and what's it all about. Everything you need, it's on the Clip Out.
Welcome to the Clip Out Podcast, episode 393. This is Crystal O'Keefe.
And this is Tom O'Keefe. You caught me yawning. You started recording the episode while I was yawning.
Well, get it together. You just had an energy drink. You had your rest.
I know it hasn't kicked in yet, but halfway through.
That's when I'll really
be firing on all cylinders. People are like, "Oh, we don't." That's when we start. That's about when we start yawning. So, how were your holidays?
My holidays?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was sick for most of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know.
Gotcha.
It was I had a good time though. Like I enjoyed Christmas Eve. We went to your sister's. I enjoyed Christmas Day, spending it with you and the kids and my wonderful gift. But I definitely wish I would have felt better.
Yeah.
How about you?
They were awful because you were sick.
I don't know why it affected you.
Because I was just waiting on you hand and foot.
Bullshit. No.
I am a caretaker.
No, you're not a caretaker.
When you got hit by a car, I was a caretaker.
You were then. That you can own, and I will give that to you. You were an awesome caretaker. But
well, there wasn't much I could do. You were like, I'm stuffy.
Yeah, it was just, I was really tired. You know, like if you had a headache like I had, I would have brought you like hot cloths for your sinuses. I didn't get that.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, it's definitely a thing.
No, I've never done that. I don't do that for myself.
Well, because you don't ever have the headaches that bad.
So how would I know?
Well, you didn't ask what you could do for me. Just saying.
I got you Advil cold and sinus.
That you did do.
So,
well, Brian went and bought it from the store.
I had extra stashed in my backpack for travel purposes.
That is true.
That I went and
that is true.
Scrounged up for you.
Yes.
So that's what I got you for Christmas.
Yeah, it's a great present.
Here's a bunch of Advil cold and sinus. I am a romantic at heart. So what, pray tell, do you have in store for people this week?
Well, we have our interview with Erica McClean. I always look forward to these. This has become an annual tradition. And Erica comes on and she does a tarot card reading for all of Peloton. And so this is the episode. This is where it's getting posted. So, and
we also grade her report card.
Yes.
For how she did last year. And there were some things she was
crazy spot on. And that article will go up on Thursday. So by the time people hear this episode and it posts, probably even our Patreon listeners, they will be able to go read that article. It will be live tomorrow.
Awesome.
So
also over on the Patreon, we talk about face age.
Yeah.
And how that's becoming a new thing. Yeah. And
it's fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like example, this guy is 90 something years old. He's getting ready. He has cancer, goes in to do surgery. And the doctor is like, wow, I'm not sure that he can handle the surgery.
Right, like, should a 90-year-old be going under anesthesia? Like
all the things. Right. And he's like, but boy, he sure looks young. And then he does the facial age check, and it validates his results. So this man gets a surgery based on that. So we're gonna dive into that, what that means for the future, and what that looks like.
We're also going to talk about Ozempic food labels. They're now branding food.
Fascinating.
For Ozempic, and we'll also talk about Peloton stuff, some other classes you might have missed that we won't get to in our content section, and also podcast appearances for instructors, and maybe a lack thereof.
Well, we're also going to talk. Yeah. Somebody's big new thing is no longer a new thing.
Now a small old thing.
We're also going to talk this week on this episode, not the Patreon episode, about Peloton possibly partnering with Target.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about Peloton.
A Clip Out exclusive.
It is a Clip Out exclusive. We also have a ton of top stories of 2024. So we've got the Peloton top stories. We've got the Peloton top tech features. We've got the 100-day streak hype video here. We have a visit from Dr. Jen talking about how to remember to take care of yourself. We've got big instructor news that we're going to be covering, and we're got some interesting competitor news to talk about. We have past guest update of epic proportion, and it's also kind of a shout out from an instructor. It's like a whole thing.
It's a whole thing we'll unpack.
Yeah. So, and of course our content. And in case you missed it, stuff.
Okay. We have no in case you missed it. We will miss nothing this week.
Nothing will be missed.
Not one thing. And so before we get to all that shameless plugs, don't forget we're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, TuneIn, wherever you find a podcast, you can find us. While you're there, be sure and follow us so you never miss an episode. Maybe leave us a review. That is super helpful.
It is.
You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/theclipout. While you're there, like the page and join the group. It's the best way to stay up to date on things throughout the week. You can check out our Patreon. If you like the show so much, you would like to give us $5. We would like to take your $5 over at patreon.com/theclipout. For $5, you get all sorts of bonus content. You get an extra 15 to 30 minutes a week of bonus episodes.
You do.
And you also get ad-free episodes. So these episodes will have no ads in them. And if we get it early, you get it early. And most importantly, we like you a little bit extra.
A little bit extra.
So you can also sign up for the newsletter at theclipout.com and watch all of these on YouTube, the wave of the future.
Literally.
Yes. At youtube.com/theclipout. So there's all that. Let's dig in, shall we?
We shall.
Peloton in the news.
Our crack investigative team has discovered a secret page at Target.com, or if you prefer, Target. For the fancy listeners.
Yeah, it's fascinating, right? Because Peloton, we've talked a lot on different episodes about how Peloton has been expanding the last year and a half. They've been showing up in places that we had never seen Peloton before.
Yeah.
This past year, there were additions to Amazon, what they sold on Amazon.
Right.
They also started selling apparel on Nordstrom. And now this week we see Peloton Cadent leggings, a pair, on sale at Target, already listed as sold out. But once we do a little digging, we notice that it shows new on Target.
Right.
And it says sold and shipped by Peloton. Now, that link is gone now. And when you search for Peloton on Target's website, it doesn't exist.
Right.
But it did. So our thought is that this is some kind of partnership that hasn't gone live yet.
Right.
They're in testing phase.
It's in progress. They're getting the pages built.
Yeah.
And one snuck through.
Yep.
And popped up on our radar.
They probably had it live for the test and then forgot.
Right. Yeah.
Oopsies.
Or there's a way to have them where they don't push out into the SEO world, and there's 40 of these pages, and one got
through.
Got tagged improperly.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
So it is fascinating. You also have to wonder, we're hearing about more store closures.
Yeah. Just this week, I was told there's another store closing in January in California. And one of our listeners works at a store in Michigan, and they closed that store this week.
So you can't help but think that, will there be more than just clothes being sold on Target? Well, we see equipment,
right,
and other accessories.
Well, it looks similar to what they've got going on at Amazon and Dick's Sporting Goods and Nordstrom.
And from a brand extension standpoint, Target is perfectly on brand, I think, for Peloton, and way more so than a Walmart.
I would agree.
We say that as Walmart shoppers.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's
Walmart as a brand has a lot of baggage.
They do.
Yeah.
I mean, it just facts.
There's no People of Target website
that I know of.
Yeah.
Also, I think it's worth noting that, when I was digging around on the link while it was live, one of the things that I found interesting was that you could return it, even though it's sold through a third party. Now, it's not completely live, so that could change.
That could change because it also said from a shipping standpoint that those leggings weighed 454 pounds.
And clearly that's not true.
No.
So
unless they're being really mean to that model.
I mean, they would have to just ship an entire person.
Yes.
So
and they're not Wayfair.
There you go.
QAnon. But yeah, you also have to wonder. They've been taking a lot of heat from people who are mad about the $9 return policy. The most heat from the people who abuse it the most frequently.
Right.
So you do wonder are we going to maybe see less apparel sold through the website, or maybe the kind of the evergreen apparel that's always in stock that isn't hard to get will be available at Target, and the more short run,
more of a collector type of thing,
right? That'll live on their website, knowing that people are less likely to, that's designed to sell out like in the old days.
It's a great question. I also thought it was interesting when Tina, Helper B Tina, was writing this article.
Yeah.
One thing that she wondered about was could it be an expanded availability? Like the collaboration, maybe it's not just apparel, but maybe it's accessories. Like maybe it's a Peloton yoga mat, that kind of thing.
Right.
And what if they did special lines for Target, like a unique affordable apparel line that was just for Target shoppers? Now, nothing to indicate that's the case, because these leggings that were live were the ones you would see on Peloton's website, Cadent, $88. Like that was not a sale.
Right.
That's just what they were. So I don't know. It's just kind of interesting.
Very much so.
We will keep an eye on it, though.
Peloton also had a post this week talking about different statistics from within the community. I think these are always fascinating.
Oh, me too.
So when do you like to work out?
Yeah.
So what, 16% said in the evening.
They did.
And then 24% said whenever, and 60% are in the morning.
And that makes sense to me because by and large, Peloton members have historically been type A people.
Yeah.
And type A people are the kind that will make a list and they get it done. And I feel like that's part of the, I got to get it done in the morning or it won't happen.
Yeah.
Now, not everybody who does it in the morning is a type A person. I realize that.
Right.
I'm just saying it makes sense to me that that's a larger number.
And then you get the type Bs like me.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're an in the afternoon kind of guy.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
I'm like a type L. But I think most people, when it comes to working out, they do want to do it in the morning. I think for that reason, they know that they did it.
Yeah. It's the life for me just gets too hard. Like kids need things, last minute stuff for the website, everything. Like it all comes up around 3:00.
Right.
And then there's not going to be any exercise, because by the time I get done with whatever stressful event just occurred at 7, I'm not going to go work out. That's not going to happen.
Yeah. And I'm just like, well, the kids,
I know.
They can take care of themselves.
Which is why I do it.
Yeah. And then all the website stuff.
That's how That's
what I got you for.
Right. And we have all the helper bees and the tipsters. We literally have a whole team, and it's still too much. There's just so many things happening. But the next question they asked was, how many days a week do you work out? Did you see there were more of these questions?
I did. I just hit scrolled to the next one.
Okay.
So the average answer is 6 days a week.
Which I feel like is self-reporting a little high.
So are these self-reported?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know.
No, they totally are, because Peloton put up I'm getting there.
Okay.
Last week when we didn't have an episode, they had a story that was like, answer these questions.
Okay.
And so people answered, and that's where they're getting it from.
Because a lot of this data they could just pull. They don't need to ask us.
They could, but that's not what they did.
That's dumb.
I agree.
That was dumb, Peloton.
I think they're trying to have engagement.
Sure.
Because it is the last week of the year and they had not a lot to say.
Right. But yeah, it doesn't, you can just pull this data. You don't need to ask us. This information. And I agree. I think if most people, if they're saying 6, they're probably counting that meditation where they get it just for the check mark.
Yeah. Which,
meditations are...
It's not a bad thing. It's just, I wouldn't consider that a workout. Yeah. Is it something that you do for your self-health? Absolutely. And you should. But I don't know that I would consider that a workout. But hey, Peloton counts it. So
there you go. So an average is 6. And then the next one, my longest streak of the year was, so 30% said 2 to 50 days.
Yeah.
16% said 51 to 150 days. And then 54% said 151 or more days a year was their longest streak.
Yep. And again, I think there's a lot of meditations being counted. But again, so does Peloton.
Right.
That's what they counted.
Yeah,
so.
and I would think in this setting, if they asked me that, I'm like, you're counting blue check marks.
Yeah,
So you're pulling
yeah.
it up and looking at your blue check marks. So,
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Where did you sweat the most? I thought this was interesting. 62% on the bike, 27% on the tread, and only 10% on the row.
Yeah.
And then, 10% on the mat, 1% on the row.
Yeah.
My bad. Yeah, poor row.
Well, like I wonder how people are interpreting this question. Are they interpreting this as like, which piece of device do I use the most frequently, or which device literally makes me sweat the most?
Oh, I heard it as, where do I spend the most time?
See, I heard it as which one makes me sweat the most.
Interesting.
And then my head went to, but if you don't own all three, you really can't answer the question.
That's true.
You know,
and there are a lot of people that don't.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
Like it's unrealistic to expect a large number of people to own three. Like tons of people don't even have the room, even if they had the budget or desire. But so I'm just curious, as someone who does own all three, where do you sweat? Literally, which produces the most sweat from you?
Well, either way you want to answer it, this particular year, it was the tread by far, because I was training for a marathon.
Yeah.
So absolutely, it was 2024 for me was the tread. And because I spent more time there, I sweated more. But like,
if you're just going to pick a workout, like if you're going to do one workout and you were going to receive $100 per fluid ounce of sweat.
I sweat more on the tread than I do
the tread. Okay.
I do. Yeah. Because you're using your body, all of your body, and for much longer periods of time. For me, the way I work out.
Yeah.
So that's why I sweat on the bike, but I'm not the person who's like dripping. Like I've never been the person that's like worried my bike is going to rust.
Right.
That wasn't me.
Yeah.
Like I sweat, but I'm not the person that's like dripping everywhere.
Like some people look like they just came out of a shower.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's not that I'm not working out as hard, but it's just my body just doesn't produce that much sweat.
Yeah. So I guess this one is, which modality do you use the most?
Well, I think it's like what are you doing the most on the mat? So if you're going to break down just the mat, are you doing strength? Are you stretching, yoga, or Pilates? And by far it was strength.
Okay.
Yeah,
that
68%.
Yeah, versus 17% for stretching, 10% for yoga, and then 4% for Pilates. And then the last one is, do you do your warm-ups and cool downs?
Yeah, 48% said yes, and 34% said no, and 19% said prefer not to answer. So
which
they
is
mean no.
Yeah. Nobody's like, I'm ashamed that I warm up. No, like that's
Nobody.
not. So if you said no answer, that's yeah. It's the same as like when a reporter shoves a microphone in your face and it's like, you know, did you know that hooker that was in your car? No comment. No comment means yes.
Yeah, you did.
I hired her.
Well, and the thing about warm-ups and cool downs is that like it's so hard. Again, I'm gonna rely on the type A, at least for myself. I'm already invested so much time in the workout. Like I had to get that done.
Yeah.
I don't always have to get the warm up and the cool down. I don't have time.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to do an hour and a half workout, an hour and a half run, like if I didn't build in 5 minutes on the front end and I didn't build in 5 minutes of that hour and a half, it's just not going to happen. I already worked out for an hour and a half. Like leave me alone.
I know I don't Peloton, but I tonal.
You do.
Now.
And you never, ever do your cool down.
Never.
Drives me crazy.
Not once.
Ever.
Drives
me nuts.
Yeah. Now I will do the warm-ups.
Yeah.
Sometimes I cut them short, but I do them.
Yeah.
But especially like sometimes tonal, they'll have like an 8-minute warm up.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a lot.
Well, it's funny that you say that because just today I have been taking Rebecca Kennedy's 3-day split program.
Yeah.
And so the first and the second day both had an 8-minute warm up and a 9-minute warm up respectively. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, that's too much.
I mean,
I don't need all that.
Yeah.
I'm not doing anything.
Unlike tonal, you can't skip. So on tonal, you can go straight to the workout.
You can skip, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm just so...
But I know I need to do it, so I will. Like the older you get, the more important those warm-ups and cool downs are. And the earlier you start, the more benefit you're going to see for them.
I figure I don't need the cool down because I'm not doing anything that hard anyway.
That's not true.
I'm already cooled down.
Like your easiest workout is like lifting 11,000 pounds. Like that's quote unquote easy for you. Yeah. So I think you're working a little harder than you're giving yourself credit for.
So it is the end of the year, and it's not the end of the year unless you have end of the year lists, and we are no different.
I love hearing how people view these things, though. I love hearing the different takes on these that our helper bees do,
right?
Because everybody has a slightly different, like way to view things. And I find it fascinating.
Well, and I think that's part of why they've become so popular is because they also, they drive engagement on all the various platforms. As people are like, that's not the best movie of the year. Yeah. This is the best movie of the year.
Yeah.
So just a quick overview of what
were the big news stories?
What were the big news stories? I was looking to see who wrote this one.
This was written by Helper Bee Elizabeth.
Okay. And Peloton instructor changes.
I mean, that's a big one.
For sure.
I think that belongs on the list for sure.
Yeah. I mean, every year that one's going to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this specific one, this particular year, when they had 12 weeks at a time where we're not seeing instructors.
Yeah.
And then that's not even what she's talking about here, though. She's actually talking about how Camilla joined the strength team for Spanish cycling series. Eric and Mariana joined the tread team. Emma joined for teaching hikes. Camila, Katie, Jocelyn joined strength team. Rebecca and Irene, I know her name. Irene are teaching Pilates. Bex joined the row team, and Christian Vandeveld officially joined the Power Zone team. That's a lot.
Yeah, no, that is a lot. We also, the new focus on strength training.
Yeah. So we had the Density 2 program, benchmark classes, the split programs, floor camp, boot camp number 2 with Maddie, walking boot camps on the tread, Just Sim 60s. Then we had Bend Stronger You, Set the Bar with Allie and Hannah, Strong Core, Strong Body 2, and the biggest probably of strength training is the Strength Plus app beta test, which is now rolled out, and it's its own standalone app now.
Right.
These are huge.
Absolutely. And I know the Lululemon thing started in 2023, but it really came into its own throughout the course of 2024.
Absolutely. They started having those Lululemon member weekends, those invitation only events that they had. Of course, we had Trish that was there, and she got to be there in person and see those. And those are really cool, too.
Yeah. And then all the in-studio surprises from the various music artists.
Yeah. Keith Urban, Little John, and then they had the Defective Records over in the UK. So that was really cool.
Yeah. And there's lots more if you want to check this out. It's over at theclipout.com.
Oh, totally.
Or, of course, as always, don't forget, you can sign up for our newsletter. You'll get a link sent right to you so you don't have to go hunting for these.
We also have a whole thing about Taylor Swift.
Oh, sorry. I mean to.
That's okay.
I don't want to step on Taylor Swift.
Everybody talks about Taylor Swift.
For
it's
sure.
Okay. I just, as Elizabeth wrote here, it's not 2024 without talking about Taylor Swift.
That is true. That is true.
It was her year.
One of the biggest shows at the arena this year.
It's true.
Was a Taylor Swift tribute band.
And it was amazing.
We sold over 6,000 tickets to
Everybody loved it.
And it was crazy cool.
It was so fun.
Yeah. And it was such a big deal. It actually got mentioned
in US
Weekly.
Yeah, US Weekly.
Because is it US Weekly or
I just
Us
thought
Weekly?
it was.
I thought it was Us Weekly. I don't know. But it actually got, because apparently one of the Real Housewives was at the show.
Yeah, which is really cool.
Well, I guess one of the Real Housewives is from St. Louis.
Yeah. And she couldn't have been sitting far from us because of the way that the picture was taken.
Oh, that's true.
We were very close.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't notice, but
we don't watch the show.
We don't watch the shows. I wouldn't have known. But if she had said hello to me, I wouldn't have known who she was.
Yeah, but we got a nice write up, and she was like, I went to this thinking it was going to be dumb,
and it was amazing,
and it was awesome
because it was really good.
Yeah, we really brought the heat in terms of the production.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And we just talked about that forever. So I'm also going to mention, this article mentions leadership shifts at Peloton with the new CEO taking the helm. And then there was a pair of CEOs taking the helm. In 2025, we have a new one. And then several instructors leaving. Like, how do you have this conversation without talking about that? Instructor weddings, two 2 instructor weddings.
Yeah.
How do you not talk about those? And of course, one of our Peloton corporate team staffers like freaking won the Olympics. How do you not talk about that?
Yeah.
Like these were great stories.
Absolutely. But we also had a lot of cool tech stuff in the last year.
We did. And I did already mention about Strength Plus, so I won't say that one again. But it was interesting. They had shout outs delivered to your inbox. Now, it seems like those were kind of just a test because they went away, at least for most people. I don't hear about them anymore.
Gotcha.
The Fitbit partnership expanded access with Peloton, so they actually could get classes directly from their devices in some countries. And then the entertainment tab, they added, first of all, it became the entertainment tab.
Right.
And they added Peloton Originals for the first time, and they added Kindle, which was really cool.
Yeah.
And I'm saying Amazon Kindle.
Amazon Kindle.
Yes.
Now, they subtracted Kindle.
Yes.
But they added
Amazon Kindle.
Amazon Kindle.
Also this year, which it feels like it should have been way longer ago, but you could connect with friends and you could block unwanted contacts.
At long last.
At long last. I've literally been asking for that since my stalker started, 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago?
Yeah.
But it finally happened. And now you can also create teams and you can find friends. And so that's really cool. You can also block hashtags. And then Lane Break came to Tread Plus, which was so cool. And track workouts for tread runners, which I had completely forgotten about. Not to mention metrics classes focusing on performance. And so those eliminate instructor chatter and members can concentrate on performance data. And then, of course, enhanced ride features like auto resistance and music control. And yes, we know music control is currently on a hiatus.
Yeah.
It will be back. At least they say it will. So those are the big ones, not to mention Strength Plus, talked about that, and Pace targets. Those find like Power Zone for running is basically what that is. And that hit the tread this year as well. So much good stuff that Peloton did. You know, we get lost in the everyday shuffle about all the good things that are still being brought. They're still making sure that we have new content. They're still making sure that we have lots of really cool things happening. And I think people really do lose sight of it.
They do. I especially compared to what the other platforms have. Like,
other platforms are getting smaller, not larger.
For sure.
Yeah.
Also, the 100-day streak challenge is upon us, and they have released a hype video.
They did. And you know what? I just realized it started today, and I didn't freaking get credit for it. Oh, I did get credit for it because I did Rebecca Kennedy's. I was thinking I did a tonal there for a second. I got real worried.
I was like, well, yeah, I saw you.
Okay.
You were doing your while I was doing a tonal.
Yes.
So you were doing a Peloton, but you were gazing lovingly
at you doing the tonal.
My jacked form on a tonal.
That's right.
And so in your head, you're like, I did a tonal.
Yeah.
And it's like, you wanted to do a tonal.
That's so, yeah. So 100-day streaks. And it doesn't matter if it's mobility, meditation, yoga, stretching, it all counts.
They want more people to be in the 151 category when they ask that question.
They do. And they want to be able to say that you're engaged. They want to be able to say they are the most engaged platform. Like you're only helping Peloton when you do that.
Yeah. Well, you're only helping yourself.
Well, you're definitely helping yourself. You're helping yourself no matter what, if you do any of those things.
For sure.
But you're also helping the company, which most of us should want to do. Because like, if you're listening to this podcast and you hate Peloton, I honestly don't know why you're here. I really don't. Yeah. I know there are some.
They're out there.
I know.
Hey, coming up after this, we're going to talk to Dr. Jen. She's going to have tips on helping you remember to take care of yourself while you're taking care of all those other people in your life. So stick around.
Getting the psychological edge with Dr. Jen.
Joining us once again via the magic of ZoomTube is Dr. Jen Mann, licensed marriage, family, and child therapist and sports psychology consultant. You may know her from VH1's Couples Therapy with Dr. Jen, or VH1's Family Therapy with Dr. Jen, or her long-running radio show, The Dr. Jen Show. She's written 4 best-selling books, including The Relationship Fix, Dr. Jen's 6-step guide to improving communication, connection, and intimacy. It's Dr. Jen. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
All right. We have a great question for you today coming from Lindsay Kelly. She says that she struggles with others' needs, the kind that she can't put aside because she's a parent, being time consuming and emotionally overwhelming, leaving pretty much no time left outside work and meeting those needs for me to do anything but barely maintain my own health and sanity. Whew, I feel you.
I do too. And do we know the ages and numbers of children she has?
If I remember correctly, she has like at least 3 children, and they're like late, like in the 15, 18, and like then a little bit younger too. And it might be more kids. I know that for sure, and I don't want to overkid her.
Yeah, but one of the things that's interesting about that is that I think we prepare for that in the baby years and the toddler years.
Yes. Nobody talks about how much they need you as teenagers.
Exactly. It is so true, because they actually, like, you're just like, oh, they're going to hate me. They're going to want nothing to do with me. And like, but they actually need you even more so. And there are also all of these kind of life events, college applications, like all kinds of things that they need you for in a very different, unique way. So that's very interesting to me that she has older kids. But I think to answer the question, that first of all, I think the more systems that we can get in play as parents, the better. And I think that we tend to think of like, I run my work life a certain way, and I run my family life in a completely different way that has nothing to do with it, and it's totally disconnected. And I think that we need to bring the same kind of focus and organization to our parent life and organizing it that we do to our professional life. And I also think that we need to be willing to accept help and give help wherever we can. You know, the whole, like, it takes a village thing. And it's like, there are moms I know who run really smooth family systems by relying on other moms in their community of like, hey, could you get the carpool this day? I'll get it that day because I have a business meeting. And I think that we tend to really shoot ourselves in the foot when we are like, nope, I'm not going to accept help, or I can do it on my own. And I think that the more help that we get from others in our life, the better off we are. And I think that we got to put our egos aside and allow people who we trust and feel are safe people for our kids to help and to kind of share that info, because there's a lot of driving with multiple kids. There's a lot of driving people places that sometimes someone else can do that and can help us. So I think that organization and accepting help are kind of the two key things. And also to really look at, kind of do a analysis of, where am I wasting time? Where could I be doing things better? Where could I say to my kid, like, hey, you need to wait 30 minutes because I'm picking up your sibling at that location, and let them handle that. Like, let them kind of bear a little bit of the burden. Sometimes we're so busy trying to save our kids suffering or something that they don't want to do that we overdo it at our own expense. So I think that's another area where you can kind of do a deep dive and kind of do an analysis of, where might be overdoing it, where I can let go a little. Oh,
that is for sure. I'm guilty.
You know, I was thinking about the kids thing when you're talking about like when they're teenagers and they still need you. I think some of what makes it difficult and kind of catches you off guard is that an infant, a toddler, whatever comes after toddler, whatever that's called.
Just a child.
Just a kid.
Elementary age kid. Yeah.
When they need you, they will tell you they need you.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
It's a great point.
So many times a teenager will need you, and they either won't tell you or they won't admit that they need you. And so now you're also trying to do this dance where it's hard to suss out if they need you, or you have to help them in ways without them feeling like you're helping them.
Yes.
100%. And also, look, I always go back to, and I say this a lot with young kids, but it's 100% applicable to teenagers, maybe even more so. Kids who feel good act good. And if your kid is acting bad, and I don't like that word, but if they're acting out in some way, something is wrong. And it's most people's natural inclination is to be like, stop doing that, or to get in a fight about it, or to change the behavior, or to yell at your kid about it. But instead, get curious. Instead, ask the questions like, what's going on that you're feeling that way? What's going on that you're raising your voice? Get to the bottom of it. There's an amazing book that came out. I think it's like 30 years ago. at least, called How to Talk So Your Kids Will Listen and How to Listen So Your Kids Will Talk. And it's one of the best books about communication. They have a teenage version and a younger kids version. And it will never get old. Like, I don't care how much things change in the world. It's still, those philosophies and that way of communicating is still really important for parents. And I highly recommend it. I didn't write it. I don't get anything from it, but I go out and buy it.
Awesome. Well, holidays are just around the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people could use it.
If there's anything children love as stocking stuffers.
I think this one might. This is for the parents.
It's for the parents.
Yeah.
I think he knew that. I think he's messing with us.
See, I can also overkid.
Yeah, you can.
Well, thank you so much for all of that. Until next time, where can people find you?
On social media at Dr. Jen Man, 2 N's on Jen, 2 N's on Man, especially Instagram.
Wonderful. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank you.
Instructors in the news.
We had an announcement this week during our break.
Yeah.
Bradley Rose and Sophia Parra, am I saying that right?
Yes.
Are expecting a baby.
They are. And later in the week, they wanted everyone to kind of vote whether or not they were having a boy or a girl.
Right.
And it was extremely close vote. But they did announce that they are having a boy. How exciting for them.
So then they will, like, the people voted, and then whoever got the most votes, that was the gender of the child?
No.
Is that how that works?
They just wanted to see what people would say.
They were just...
Yeah. Then they didn't make that the decision.
Oh.
They wanted to see who was right.
Oh, I see.
Again, driving engagement. That's what we were doing here. And by we, I mean, that's what Bradley and Sophia were doing.
Yes. Well, congrats to them.
Very huge congrats.
Emma Lovewell has returned.
Yes, she has. I guess by the time you hear this, it will be official. January 2nd, 8 a.m. Eastern, the first of 2 welcome back rides. I'm so glad she's back. It's nice. It's nice whenever the instructors come back after having a baby.
Yeah. Well, you're going to get to enjoy instructors coming back much more frequently.
When they're off for 12 weeks
When they're
at a
off
time.
for 12 weeks at
It's
a
like
time.
they're all on maternity leave.
Yeah.
They're cycling through.
No pun intended.
If you could just time having a baby
Right.
with your next 12 weeks off, that would be great.
That's what
Brad, we're looking at you.
That's what Peloton means by the rhythm method.
Oh, geez.
So Matt Wilpers was on vacation and ran into Kristin McGee.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
That's awesome.
I love that. I love that story.
I'm glad it wasn't like awkwardly avoiding eye contact.
No,
Since they're not coworkers anymore.
I don't think most people feel that way.
Yeah.
I mean, and there might be some instructors who've left that feel that way.
Yeah.
But like Kristin McGee is not one of those people.
not at
like she clearly was sad to leave Peloton.
For sure,
And
yeah.
the vibe came through. But it's so great that they all got together.
Absolutely.
I love this story.
Coming up after this, we're going to talk about artist series. We're going to not only talk about the most recent one, but we'll give you a sneak peek at what's coming up throughout January. So stick around.
Peloton artist collaboration.
The latest artist series features Zedd.
Yes, it does. EDM.
Okay, that explains why I don't know it.
Yes. I don't know them either. I mean, I've heard of them, but I don't know them. You
Is
know
it
what
a
I mean?
group or a guy?
It's a guy.
Okay.
But because it says Zedd, like in my head, it just becomes a group, but it is
Gotcha.
a guy.
Okay.
I don't know anything about Zedd.
All I can think of is Pulp Fiction. When it's
Why?
like, Zedd's dead, baby. Zedd's dead.
Never remember that line.
That's the guy who is keeping the other guy in the basement in the GIMP costume. And he runs the pawn shop. And then when after Bruce Willis kills him, gets on the bike, and he's in, is it his girlfriend is like, what about Zedd? And he's like, Zedd's dead, baby. Oh, spoilers alert for Pulp Fiction. Zedd dies.
Well, it's like 30 years old now.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
That's frightening.
it is.
That is frightening that movie is 30 years old.
Yep. And
Oh,
yet
my
here
word.
we are.
Here we are indeed.
Yeah.
Okay, editors, if you could pop up image number
Hang
2.
on. I didn't get to say.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, editors. Cut that part out and we'll pick
You
back up.
keep going down these rabbit holes and then you don't get back to the actual point of what we're trying to talk about. You can cut that out, editors. But Zedd, getting back to Zedd,
Heard him. He's dead, you know.
There will be 6 classes, including one in Spanish and one in German. Sorry, I said DE and my brain was trying to say English. At any rate, full body with Camila, and there's going to be a ride with Charlotte.
You know, fun fact, in Canada, Zedd is called Z.
Really?
Also, looking ahead to the month of January, we know what's coming up.
We do, yeah. So if you go out to the studio link, you can see all these for yourself. But we just thought we would do a little overview because there's a lot of stuff coming up.
Speaking of spoilers, here we go.
Yeah. Lil Wayne Artist Series is coming up on January 9th. There's going to, at least there will be 4 live classes on January 9th. There might be more that drop besides that.
Right.
And then there's going to be Jelly Roll is going to be up on January 16th. We know of at least 2 live classes that week. It's going to be Bex Gentry, Dennis Morton. And then on January 23rd, Tate McRae. Now, apparently, Tate McRae is the rising star of Gen Z. You say so because I wouldn't know.
Well, we are not Gen Z.
We are not.
So we wouldn't know.
That's why we wouldn't know.
Yeah.
There's going to be at least 3 live classes on January 23rd with Cody Rigsby, Olivia Amato, and Katie Wang. And January 30th, Selena Gomez.
No,
I know her.
Only Peloton's in the building.
Yeah. And at least 2 classes are going to be live that day. There's going to be one with Ali Love and Camila Ramon. There's also going to be a 2-for-1 Spanish strength class that's going to feature Camila Ramon and Rad Lopez on January 24th. So it's a special little nugget. So make sure we all keep our eyes on that. It's a lot of fun stuff coming up in January.
Checking out the competition.
So Hydrow is making some changes to their monthly subscription package.
They are. Okay, so I thought this was interesting because apparently at the end of the year, they raised their prices, but they gave people who had been members for a while an option to buy several months in advance and therefore keep the same rate.
Gotcha. So if you want to give them a bunch of money up front, they'll drop the price for you.
Yes.
And they get an infusion of cash.
Yeah. So and then they have a 12-month one that you can buy ahead of time. So, and that gives you 2 months free by doing that, according to the new fees. And then you could also do a 2-year membership, and that would give you 5 months free. Or you could even buy only a 6-month membership, and according to the new charges, that would still give you a month free.
Okay.
So I just thought this was interesting because, number one, people over in the Hydrow group were real upset. And I mean, real upset.
So how are they just upset that the price went up at all? Or is there another aspect of this that they're upset about?
It seems like there's just general frustration that it's kind of like the same things we hear about Tonal, where it's like you get one thing, like you're paying a membership and you only get one thing. And so for Hydrow, you're only getting rowing classes. And as opposed to around the same amount. In fact, these people are paying more than we pay at Peloton.
Right.
And we're getting strength and rowing and running and biking and yoga and Pilates and.
Right.
And we've said that for a long time,
that
Peloton is a great deal.
It's a great value proposition.
It is. Now, I also think it's interesting because Hydrow just a couple weeks ago announced that they had a new product that was going to be dropped that had no subscription rate whatsoever. So the reason I find all this interesting is that I think that the world of connected fitness is really changing the game. Like Peloton set the standard, even though lots of people don't want to give them credit for that. They did. They literally invented connected fitness. They literally did.
Yeah.
And then all these others that came behind it, they are having to, number one, respond to the environment in the same way Peloton does. But people get so frustrated with Peloton, and like, you know, I announced the Target thing today, and one of the responses, just typical response, is welcome to the Titanic. You know, Peloton is sinking.
Yeah.
It's the usual shit. But my point is, compare that with what Hydrow is going through.
Right.
They have one thing they do.
They got one modality.
That's it.
Yeah.
Their prices are going up. And now they are finding ways to have it without a subscription cost at all.
Right.
But then you're not going to have any live classes. You can't have it both ways.
Right.
So like maybe we should all collectively just appreciate what we have and get off Peloton's ass.
Well, especially like if you already have a Hydrow, I get that you're just going to, you're more inclined to stick with what you have.
It's interesting that you say that as well, because a lot of people mentioned that they had just gone over to Peloton and they just use a iPad on their rower to take Hydrow classes, and they get Peloton classes rather on their Hydrow, and they just use it as a rower.
Well, you also got to think, if you're just in the market for a row machine of some sort and you see all the stuff Peloton has, even if you think you'll never touch it, there's a chance you might.
Why would you not?
Unless their machine is just...
It's not that Hydrow's machine is like so much better than Peloton. It's that Peloton's is more expensive, quite frankly. I mean, you can get a Concept 2 rower, one that doesn't connect to anything, a lot cheaper. I think it does some stuff on the internet now, so please don't at me. I know but it's not the same as Peloton. That's my point. And you used to do Concept 2. It had no internet access whatsoever. And then you have rowers like Hydrow that are still not as expensive as Peloton, but have their own built-in interface and everything. Right. So if you're a person who likes to see all the details on the machine, which I do, like I would not want to use my Peloton rower and take a Hydrow class. Right. That would drive me a little nuts. Yeah. I understand why people do it.
You're not shaming people for doing it. You just know for you, it would irritate you.
It would. If that was the only choice I had, obviously I'd get over it. Right. Like, I mean, you have to at some point. But if I have the choice, I'm going to have it all inclusive. And for me, that makes more sense with Peloton. But if money is an issue and you don't want to spend $4,000 on a rower, and you can get a rower for $2,000 and still have all the Peloton classes, but also pay less per month, why would you not?
Right.
Why would you not?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But then, if you got somebody else in your home that might also want to piggyback this membership, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, I'm going to do the row stuff, but my wife or husband can do
the tread or the bike or
at no additional cost. All of a sudden that price starts dropping. So
it does.
Yeah, like it's an interesting situation.
And don't forget, if you have the guide, you can still take those Peloton row classes even without a Peloton rower, because you get all of the classes when you have a Peloton guide membership.
Yeah.
Just saying, it's definitely the best deal they have.
Should post that in the Hydrow group.
I am not starting shit over there. I just quietly lurk over there.
Past guest update.
We have a fun past guest update this week.
We do. Yeah. I can't remember what episode Yaya was, Yanina, but I know, and you're looking it up, so I'll just keep talking. Yanina was on, she was like, in my head, one of the first people that I ever wanted to interview, because back in the day when we first started this podcast, Yanina was the person I wanted to interview, because she always did these fun posts where she would take a Starbucks cup, and whoever had a milestone that day, she would write them on her cup. And I just loved the inclusiveness of that, the community aspect of that. It made me so happy. And I wanted to learn how this started. And so she was one of the first people. And she was episode what?
It appears she was episode 25.
Wow.
Yeah.
25. So Yanina was Yanina Livingston, and she was on the podcast way back in 2018. And she recently got married to a fellow Pelotonian, Kevin Jarnot. And now they each have kids. So this is a blended marriage like ours is.
Yes.
And so they were getting married. And you have to remember, for people who don't know this whole backstory, that they met through Peloton. They only met because of Jen Sherman. Because Jen Sherman was the great connector back in the day.
Yeah.
And these people met in person live. They took classes in the studio back when you could just go and get a class. It wasn't a whole thing.
Yeah.
You just swung by.
Swing by.
And so they met in the studio, and eventually they fell in love, and they now got married. So Jen Sherman, having orchestrated this whole relationship, basically.
Yeah.
Now she couldn't be at the wedding. But that did not stop Jen's men Specifically, I believe it was Gordon and Andrew Kovar.
Okay.
But I know it was two of them. They went to Jen Sherman and they said, can you record something special? And so Jen Sherman recorded probably the greatest shout out of all times. I don't know, though. There's been a few to Howie that have definitely been up there.
That is true.
But she recorded an intro that they played to their wedding, and then they came out as Flower Boys, and they were wheeled out on a Peloton down the aisle, and they threw flowers at everyone from their Peloton while Jen Sherman did an intro like she would to class. Like, we're gathered here today, just like starting any class. And she talked about how much she loved Yanina, how much she loved Kevin, and how much she loved all of the OGs, many of which were in the audience.
Yeah.
It was definitely a who's who wedding. And it was very magical. The funniest part was that Yanina wasn't even there because she hadn't done her walk down the aisle yet. It was the people coming before, right? So they, of course, took a video of it and she got to see it. But, she had so much love for Jen Sherman doing this. She asked for us to mention this, but it's just a great story. How do we not share this story?
For sure.
This is what the Peloton community is all about.
Yeah.
This is what I love about Peloton. The fitness is a byproduct as far as I'm concerned, but the amazing relationships, friendships, and relationships that have led to weddings are also amazing.
Absolutely.
New content.
It is time for the TCO Top 5, our first TCO Top 5 of 2025, but it'll all be stuff from 2024 because time is a flat circle. So starting with the first one, your favorite ride.
It was an 80s ride. It was a 30-minute 80s ride with Bradley Rose. He taught it. And Roz Hurwitz-Reich loved this. She said, she nominated this class. She said, Bradley got off the bike during the class and walked around the studio. His walkabout and the nostalgic 80s music were a great way to distract riders from this ride's 25 intensive minutes of riding, including 2 climbs, 2 jogs, and 2 speed intervals. Wow.
Okay. Number 2, your favorite walk.
Your favorite walk. Okay. This was, how could it not be Maddie? Because it was a walk and talk, and he reviewed the entire 2024 year, and he does it all in pop culture.
Yeah.
He, first of all, we have to mention that he wore a sequin tuxedo shirt, and it was like a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Okay. So then he had an amazing playlist. It was holiday hits, and it was also music to celebrate the new year, and some of which they were all sung by Maddie's favorite divas. So, you've got the Cher and the Celine and all that. There's also a big reveal. I can't tell you what that is. All I can say is you have to stay till the very end when Maddie reveals his favorite diva of 2024. It's not a person.
Okay.
Spoiler alert.
Okay.
Okay.
Number 3, your favorite holiday walk.
Okay, so this was taught by Kirsten Ferguson, and it was from 12:22, 30 minutes. Danette Royal Giles loved this walk. She enjoyed the opportunity to have a peaceful workout in the midst of all of the holiday hustle. The class had a truly relaxing playlist of traditional Christmas music. How about that?
Yeah. Number 4, your favorite bike boot camp.
Okay, so this was taught by Cody. It was a 30-minute boot camp, 50-50. I say that surprisingly because we haven't had a lot of bike boot camps in a while. And so people were super excited about this. Katie Bromley nominated this class, and she said it is the polar opposite of Kirsten's walk, but it can still help you de-stress. She laughed so hard. It was a great workout, and Cody was hilarious. Take a look at the playlist for this class. You will see a theme emerging. Let's just say this class will have you laughing your ass off.
Okay. And finally, the class so tough, you dare not stack it with another one. We call it an unstackable.
So this was taught by Andy Spear. 60-minute total strength from 11:24. And Courtney Marissa nominated this class. She said it was offset loading that made it even more challenging. She said, I've taken a bunch of Andy's strength classes. This one was a bit of a mind fuck. Hope the children were out of the room. Andy used the concept of offset loading where you put different weights in each hand for a deceptively hard workout. The music was on point with each song playing on the playlist better than the last. Love this class, but I was not prepared to have to use my whole brain so early in the morning to keep my body balanced with one heavy and one lighter weight.
That's weird.
It's really hard because I often will do classes when you're doing running classes, you do a lot of working on one side or the other because you're trying to increase the muscle on that, right? And so things like a rear deadlift, when you only are using one hand and one leg, that's so hard on your core.
Yeah.
And that's where you get your balance help from. So I'm sure with 2 different weights, it did even more of that.
We will now take a look at this week at Peloton.
Lots of new fun stuff coming up this week. Of course, the Jess King experience that was going to be they did an encore or an on demand on December 31st this week. So it was like the last class you take for New Year's. It was the idea.
Gotcha.
It was all glittery and, you're going to have a Brittany Allen outfit. It's going to be amazing. If, I'm already past New Year's at this point mentally. I never really get that into New Year's. So this just isn't my thing. But for people who are, this is a huge deal. People get really excited about this. But something that people can still be looking forward to this week that they haven't had a chance to take, new classes, dance cardio classes that dropped. They also dropped on December 31st. But there are new classes with Callie, Camila, and Leanne. That's a first, ladies and gentlemen. We also have a party class with John Husking. It was called At the Club, and it was a walk plus run, and that one is an outdoors class.
We also have the return of music countdown classes.
We do. And so this was obviously, this all took place last week because it was counting down to New Year's.
Right.
But people love these classes. And some things that they added this year that I thought were interesting was a German songs countdown 10 through 1. And they did a Spanish songs countdown 10 through 1. And then they did a Lane Break top 50 remixed. All of that was new to the top 50 music countdown this year.
Okay.
Another thing that I thought was interesting is originally on the schedule, they had no walk plus run classes, but they ended up dropping several. So that ended up happening.
Okay.
The other thing that I thought was interesting is that in past years, they have started it off by listing the class as a premiere early in the day, like midnight, let's say, and then listing it as encore later in the day. So in theory, people who are waking up like in the UK can have it as a premiere. And then later in the day, if you're waking up in the US, you could then take those classes, or in other countries. This year, they listed them all as encore. I don't know if that was just an oops, like somebody just forgot to do it. I'm not really clear why that happened, but I thought that was kind of fascinating. And I just wanted to point out, because as I was doing my research, that this was interesting too. We've been doing this since 2020. Does that seem possible?
Wow.
The top 50 countdown has been going on since the 2020 year. It's probably why I don't remember.
Yeah, that'd do it.
Right?
Yeah.
4 years.
Peloton birthdays.
And finally, our first Peloton birthday of the year goes to Adrian Williams. His birthday is on January 9th.
Happy birthday, Adrian.
Happy birthday to Adrian. And coming up after this, we have our interview with Erica McClean. She's going to do her annual tarot card reading and prediction for what Peloton can expect in the coming year. We will also hit some highlights of things that she got right eerily in 2024. So sit tight.
Checking in with the Peloton community.
Joining us today via the magic of ZoomTube is Erica McClean. Now, longtime listeners maybe know the rhythm by now, is that at the end/beginning of the year, depending on how dutiful we are with recording and editing, we have Erica on. She's a tarot card reader, and she gives us her predictions for Peloton for the upcoming year. And so by the time you hear this, there should be an article out there that actually has a report card for you for 2024.
Yes.
And there are some pretty impressive things on there.
Very impressive things. Very impressive things. You got a lot right last year. I don't want to cloud her cards though,
Yes.
Tom.
Yeah.
I don't want to cloud her cards.
But some of it was like creepy right.
It was creepy right. Yeah.
Like with a high degree of specificity. Like a lot of times this sort of stuff is like, it feels like they're dancing around it. Like, oh, like, yes, they could maybe read it that way. But like, there are some things where it's like you give names and dates and like kapow.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. Not that we want no pressure.
No pressure.
No pressure.
But if you don't do it again, you're a failure.
But it's for fun. It's for fun. And every year, I told you this when you and I first started talking, Erica. I'm like, I don't really, believe in any of this or anything. But I have to say, every time you do a reading, I want to, because you're so good at it. You make it so compelling.
Thank you so much. That means a lot. Yeah, I can't wait to see that article. I'm not going to look at it for a little bit, though, I don't think. I have been, preparing for this kind of all week, just pulling cards here and there. And there's one card that I just kept getting. And even today, when I just kind of played again with them, and the card popped up again, which is the last card of the deck. It's the World, which does mean completion of something, but don't be scared. I don't think it's not completion of Peloton. That's not what it is. But I do think that there is going to be something ending with but there's going to be something new to start. And with this ending, I don't know what it is. And I don't think it's bad. I think it might be something that people are like, oh no, what? Like they're kind of like nervous about it first, but then they realize, oh my gosh, this is good. It's going to take us to a good place. So
maybe she's predicting the end of the clip out.
Oh no.
No.
It'll be a lot less work. So maybe she's right. Like my first reaction was, oh no, this could be bad. And then my second reaction was like, oh, look at all the free time we have.
No,
we get our lives back. So
it's definitely not a completion of that. I think it's a completion about something within Peloton. And this, honestly, it could be an instructor leaving or it could be somebody totally new coming on.
Okay.
So I think it's just something within the platform. But speaking of podcasts, I did go down a rabbit hole with tarot cards about Just Sims. For some reason, I don't know if she's going to have her own podcast sometime this year or be a co-host, kind of like Bex is right now, which is this just started, or she's going to be a guest speaker on a podcast, like a frequent guest speaker. I got a lot of Just Sims vibes. And this had to do around basketball and college games and kind of like the female athlete, kind of geared towards because I feel like a lot of times, no one really acknowledges that. It's always like the NBA, the boys teams and whatever. But I think she's a really good staple at expressing how women are in sports and in athletics and in fitness. And I think that she could take that to the next level and do something on with a podcast and really get even more notice than she is now. Okay. And I also saw that she could get an offer for something within broadcasting aside from what she's doing now. So that could be, I know she only does it a short amount of the year, right? I think she covers games, but this could be like a full year type of thing. I do see it having to do with basketball, kind of just like a bigger contract. I feel like there's almost like a decision that she needs to make within that. And I do see a lot of travel for her. Within this year. Okay. And don't be surprised if you see her doing daring things. I feel like you could see her skydiving or doing something on a motorcycle or jet skis or something. I have that kind of impression with her. Okay. But I do think that she's going to be more noticed with the athlete world, with the women's world of athletics. And she's just a staple for that. So I think that we may see a little bit less of her, but she's still will be here. Okay. But this is just something that she's really wanted to do. Yeah. That's the vibe that I got. Do you have any questions around that?
Yeah. So definitely you don't see her leaving Peloton. You see this in addition to Peloton, but it might look different, the frequency that we see her.
Yes. I see in March, I see her traveling a lot. March comes, it's March. And I see her maybe posting, and this is traveling for work, but other jobs. So I'm thinking this is for her around basketball, around women's basketball, around college basketball. But I do see her maybe posting really fun things that she does while traveling. For some reason, I see her on a motorcycle or doing something crazy, funny, fun. But I do see, I don't see her leaving. I see March is a busy month for her traveling.
Okay. Got it. Okay. All right.
Okay, so I know I predict babies a lot, and I know everyone's talking, Selena, this, that, and that could very much well be. But Callie came to my mind again, and I know she just had a baby, but I feel like there's a decision that she's going to have to make come the spring. I got around April, and I don't know if it's a decision because she gets pregnant again or she wants to get pregnant again. I do see in October, she either her having another baby or being pregnant.
Okay.
I see like a girl, and I see this as almost like it was like meant to be. I don't know. It's like I wrote angel. So when I do angel, it's like it's whether it's like it was just meant to happen. But I do see a decision for her in April.
Okay.
To make.
Okay.
And then we were talking about new instructors, and I was kind of talking about that before about completion. And I do have that it is a possibility for new instructors, but I do see something with finance, like a stress about finances to not hire within. So like I feel like for right now, it's kind of the drift I got that it's easier for Peloton to hire within their instructors. So like to hire like tread instructors for row and do all that because they already have like a set amount of money they're making, and they don't have to and they're not, I do think that they are worried to take on new people because the job is so demanding. And I do feel like the flexibility is great with the instructors that are there. But however, I do see them having their eye on a male instructor, younger male instructor. And I feel like this is an athlete that, not an athlete like we've heard about. It's not like a pro athlete, but somebody who played like a D1 or something in college, or like an Olympic type person. This person does, however, is kind of on the fence. I feel like there's been talks within this person, but this person does have a family. Like I think they don't live in New York. So I think this is kind of like a back and forth thing with them. But it's almost like I feel like they're in cahoots with this other male person. I feel like he got noticed by Alex. I can't even say his last name, the rowing instructor.
Alex K.
Alex K, because I take his classes and I love him, and he's from the state New Hampshire right over. But I feel like he's almost like a friend with him or someone that went to school with him or something. So it could be within the rowing community or it could be within the riding community.
Doesn't he have a brother that used to work for Hydrow?
He does, actually. And his brother, I just saw his brother's wife, because I believe they live in Boston. So they live where I live. His wife just had a baby. And I think it was either yesterday or the day before. Her birthday is today. So today is the 8th.
Okay.
And she had a baby on, I believe it was December 6th, which is my husband's birthday. She had a girl. So it could be. I just see kind of like that's kind of the relation.
Okay.
For the whole thing. So I wanted to get into, there was one like kind of scandalous thing I wanted to get into. I hate talking like scandalous because it's like, I don't want anyone to hate me. And if the instructors hear this, like, I don't want them to hate me. But I did have like an energy of two. So it's either two instructors or it's an instructor that is interested in either another instructor's friend or somebody that works within the community. I see a relationship.
Okay.
I see a relationship coming. I'm trying to look where I wrote these on my notes because I did have energy of there being a type of like a relationship that we may hear about, like, it might not be as big as like the Andy and Rebecca. I do think it will be serious, but I think it's we hear about in one of the instructors, and like I said, I almost think it's like an instructor's friend. Okay, that they meet through friends or somebody that works within Peloton.
Okay.
And when I find those, that exact note, I'm going to expand more on it. I have them all written down. I did have that we may hear of a new relationship within the Peloton community. Mm-hmm. Now, whether it's an instructor-instructor relationship or instructor-friend of instructor relationship or an instructor relationship with somebody who works within Peloton, like whether it's like within the Peloton. I did have that the male of the relationship was a little bit older and the female was a little bit younger. Like not crazy, but That's just kind of the vibe I got. And the male, I almost got male energy was like a male instructor at Peloton, because I got like this person has like a lot of experience in the field that they're in. And so that to me was more like of an instructor vibe. And then I have this is like a really sweet relationship. And I feel like these two people, even if it's an instructor and like a friend of an instructor, they have known each other or known of each other for a while. And I just have that age difference there. So there could be some other relationship that we hear about. As for dates, I feel like this might not be until the summertime, like June. People may hear about it a little bit before, but I feel like something could come out around the summertime.
Okay. All
So
right.
I don't know if you have questions about that.
Well, I'm curious if you're getting any vibe like from this energy, if you can tell like what they teach, if you can see that, like what's the experience looking like it's in.
And so I hate being like, it's this person, it's that person, because then watch it like not be this person. It could be somebody else, or this person could just be involved and be a really good friend of the instructor who's in. But I got almost like Dennis Morton energy.
Interesting. Okay.
I got like he was like the first person that like came to, it was like Dennis Morton energy.
Okay.
And I got almost like that older, he's not old at all, but like he's been there for a long time.
Yeah.
He has a lot of experience. And he's a little bit older than some of the other spin instructors.
Sure.
That's who kind of first came to mind. Now, whether it's him or maybe it's a friend of his or someone that just teaches spin.
Okay.
That's kind of like that's kind of the vibe that I was getting.
All right.
Any questions around that?
I don't. Do you, Tom?
No, I'm scared to ask questions.
No, ask away.
Start a scandal.
I love the questions. All right. I love Alex Toussaint. Like he's probably one of my favorite cycling and tread instructors too. And he's probably I have taken a lot of instructors in the studio, but I haven't taken him. And he's like definitely somebody that I want to take just because I just love him. Like I love his vibe and I love his energy. But I kind of got like vibes that he was working hard on something behind the scenes. And like, we know he just put out his sneakers and those were like a big hit. Like I have to still order them because I totally want them. But I do have that he could be working on something that's like kind of hush hush, like nobody knows about. And he like doesn't even want to, it's almost like he doesn't even want to tell like his friends in Peloton about it because he just like, he kind of wants to keep it secret.
Interesting.
I got almost like a CEO type vibe of energy, like where he might be getting offered something within like an athletic type of brand thing. And that almost like we may see him in the spring, like giving back to the community. I don't know if it's working with younger kids or working like type of charity for younger kids, younger athletes that want to, make something of themselves, but don't have like the means or like the parental figures or support to do that. If that makes any sense at all.
Well, but when I hear CEO, that makes me think like leaving Peloton. Like, how do you do both?
How do you run a company?
Yeah.
I don't see him leaving Peloton. Like, okay. I don't. I just see him getting. I see almost. And I wrote personal life. I feel like a lot of his personal life is hidden. Like we don't. He's very quiet and he's very personal. Like he doesn't like to announce things or talk about his personal life. But I do see like, and I pulled the magician when I was like talking about him because I was just thinking about him and I was like, let's pull a card. And the magician is a card of like, you have everything you need to make whatever it is happen. And there's something that he wants or he's trying to do, whether he's just manifesting it or he's kind of working on it at the moment. But there's something that he's going to do, that he's working hard at. And like, I don't think this thing is going to require like a 5-day-a-week type job. So like, I don't see him leaving Peloton, but I do see him, whether it's like, working, for kind of like a company, like with the whole, like, I feel like it's almost around like athletics, like he's doing like Puma, Nike, like New Balance, something like that. But it's going to kind of extend to the community too, as well. I do see Atlanta, like him going to Atlanta to do some stuff. And let's see what else I wrote about him. I got a lot. This is so weird. I never get like colors with people, but like the color yellow kept on like vibing around him, which is like the sun, like positivity, sunshine, like, and it has to it deals a lot with like your solar plex chakra.
Okay.
So I just feel like this could be like a teaching type thing where he's teaching his knowledge, and I see it to like about with younger kids. I do see him, being a little bit less private as the year goes on. Like maybe in the summertime, we do like hear about maybe his personal life. Because like I've heard that he was in a relationship, and that's what people have said, but I don't know if he's going to bring that more to the table and something may expand, whether it's like an engagement or, he talks about this person more. But I did write like the start of the summer. For that, like hearing more about that. And I do have teacher. So I think like there's going to be a lot of him playing that role as a teacher, and whatever that role is, he is like high up, and I see him like financially being even more stable than he is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that says a lot. He's doing okay.
Yeah, I think they're all pretty stable.
Yeah, exactly.
They're all stable, but I
At
feel
least
like
financially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like he's going to have an opportunity almost that he can't say no to, if that makes sense.
It does,
Just,
yeah.
like money wise, yeah.
Okay.
Any questions with that?
No, you answered the big question, which was him leaving. So it doesn't sound like that. And that would be very interesting. He's never had a public relationship that us members have seen. So that will be very interesting if that is true.
Yeah, I don't see him leaving. I just see him being able to getting an offer to, like, kind of like the whole Jess Sims thing we talked about. But this is something that's more towards like a branding type thing. And Susie Chan, I love Susie Chan. She's like my girl.
Yeah.
I love her. I did pick some cards around her that she has something else big on the horizon, another race that she's going to do. And I do see her teaming up with like a supplement type thing and maybe doing, you may see her do some like story on Instagram or doing something with this with her races and stuff. But I do see another big type of Ulta race for her. I have the end of spring, early summer. And then also I do see her giving back and maybe working like with charity and stuff like that. Okay. Now with the race, can you tell like what location it's in? Like, yeah, let me pull some cards for that. I see that she's probably going to do London next year, but I think, and I know she doesn't need to raise money for that because she just, she runs so many, but I do see almost like a charity type thing with that. And if it's not London, I don't know if it's Berlin, but it's something that's not in the US, doing more like charity work. Okay. But the big thing, I do see that this thing is a very competitive thing that she's going to be doing. It's something that not a lot of people get picked for. So I do see that like whether she's thinking about it now or whether she's like signing up for it now, it's something that she thinks isn't going to happen because it's just kind of like, she's like, yeah, this won't happen, but it will. And I do see her doing this with her husband because I know her and her husband do a lot of races together. They do. And I think this is going to be June, beginning of July, that either she does the race or she announces the race. Wow. And I don't think normally her things are really like hot, like she does things in deserts and hot. This might be a little bit cooler weather. I see mountains and more hills. You know what? There is more than one. She does have like a bunch of them coming. So that confirms like the London that I was talking about. But I think she has a lot of decisions to make around these races. But yes, there definitely is one that she has her eyes on. And she, like I said, maybe the weather's a little nicer and more hilly. And I do see also someone, I don't know why it's John Hoskins. My sister loves him too, by the way. She's like, he's like her new favorite and she's obsessed with him. But I see him doing this with her. Really? Yes. And if it's not this race, it's one of the other marathons she's doing. Okay. Well, he had to drop out of the marathon this year because due to an injury. That would be that would make sense that he would, try again for a different marathon this next year. So that is very interesting. And she too has a lot of things coming her way. Like we talked about the supplements, and I do think there's a lot of more things or a lot of more people that are going to want to connect and use her to brand stuff, runnings type things. And you know what too? And this like just passed my mind. And when things pass my mind, I'm like, I might as well just say them. I wouldn't be surprised if she started learning more about yoga and getting certified. I could see her, whether she's teaching it maybe, or doing like a yoga for runners type thing and with London.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I would be totally into that.
I can see that could happen.
Okay. All right.
Do you guys have any questions or anything you want me to like?
Well, you're giving specific instructors. So I'm curious if you see anything for Mariana. She's another one of my favorites. So Susie, but I want to hear about Mariana.
Okay. I love her too. And when I was looking this week, I don't know why she didn't come up at all. So we'll draw some cards for her, but she is awesome and I love her. So the cards that I pulled with her, we may see her slowing down just a bit.
Oh.
From running. I'm not saying yoga. And now it could be because maybe she's doing too much and she needs to slow down, or she's working on something else. She could write a book. Oh. There could be a book written by her. She has a lot to say and she has a lot of positive words and people listen to her. If she slows down, I don't like to bring anything and to manifest anything into the universe. So I'm not even going to go there by saying that. But I do see the end of not even the spring, but like maybe it could be around the end of March, her taking a little time off, whether it's she's writing a book or doing something. I know she did do IVF, freeze her eggs. Yep. It could be to do that. Okay. I do see her taking a little bit of time to do that, but I do see that she has a lot to say. So I do see that there could be a book or something like author. I guess that would be a book that could be in the works or she's thinking about. Okay. I want to pull one more for her just because I do love her so much. I do see her maybe traveling, and this could be traveling it could be for a marathon or it could be traveling for family. Okay. But I don't see anything bad around her. I see her still doing great, still doing all great things and even new things. And I almost see a wish being granted for her. Ooh, interesting. So, and this could happen the end of January, very beginning of February. Oh, we could hear something. Okay. As soon as that.
Wow, that's really fast.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions before I just...
Well, I was going to ask about Maddie too, because when you were talking about books, that made me think of Maddie. He's been writing a book with his mother, and I was just curious if anything. I know he's got a wedding he's working on, and I know he's got a book he's working on, but I don't know anything else about what's going on with Maddie.
I did see him because I got him for a card pull, being at his best right now, just being in love with everything and just super happy. Everything's going his way. And just kind of just sitting, I feel like this is the time where he can just sit and just relax. Good. Because even though he's doing his walks and his runs and everything like that, I just feel like there's just I don't see anything bad happening for him, that just only good things are happening. And around the book, I do see that coming into fruition soon. I do want to pull a card. I do see him getting married this year. I don't know when the wedding is particularly, but I'm seeing the number 5. So it could be 5 months, January, March, April. It could be in May. It could be the 5th of the month or something that adds to 5. I do see the number 5, but I do see a ceremony type thing. So I do see that marriage happening this year. And I see all new things happening for him. It's he's at the beginning right now of just such an amazing time. And I know he's talked about kids, but I do see kids in his future.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I do see kids. And I don't think it would be early as this year, but I see the number 2. So maybe in a couple years, I do see children for him. Any questions around that with him?
No, I don't want to. I don't even want to speculate too much about that. Yeah.
I do see some sort of competition with him though. And this might not even be within Peloton, but it could be something aside from Peloton. And I really don't know what it is, but I do see him standing up for something that is meaningful for him, because I feel and nothing bad, relationship wise, but I feel he almost gets knocked down or upset about a certain situation. We may hear him get upset about something. So we may see him speaking up and using his voice on a particular subject. and him just being able to like get across to people and to be able to like, and this could even like start something new, like within him, like whether it's like a blog or something like a group, or I don't know what it is, but I see him standing up for something he's deeply, that is personal with him.
Okay. Well, he has a lot of passions around a lot of subject matter that is very much in the air right now. So I could totally see him speaking up about some things.
Yeah. And I don't know why I'm seeing January for something. I feel like we'll see something, and this might not be that. It could just be something in regards to the wedding or in regards to something that he's doing come January. Something, he might be doing like some sort of class or some sort of like, I think last year he might have did like an ab thing for the month. We just might see something like that come up again. But I do see January kind of like flashing at me with him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, okay. I did have also, right before I talked to you, I was pulling some more cards, and I got a decision around one of the instructors, and I do have the instructor, so I won't, if you want to talk about it later or now, we can.
Save it for the Patreon. Make them pay for
yeah,
that.
we can save it for the Patreon. A decision that they have to make around some sort of situation. And almost like, I don't see this person leaving, but I do see like having a decision, and whether it's joining together with somebody else in the Peloton community, or joining together with somebody else as like one of their friends, or somebody just like, I don't know. I just see some sort of decision that this person has to make. And I also see this person, another like speak up thing for this person, like speaking up against something to protect somebody else. And I do see this person also taking maybe like a little bit of time off. And I specifically like got like what, I don't know if it's like an injury or just like having to take a break because it's just needing that break. But being fine, coming back, but just another like passionate thing with this person. They're very passionate about something. And just speaking up about something. Yeah.
Okay.
One of the instructors.
Interesting.
And I got Cody having a new relationship.
Oh.
Cody having a new relationship. And I got a lot, like Rad kept coming to my mind about something that was going to get fulfilled for him. It was like almost like a wish or something that he's been wanting or manifesting coming into fruition.
Wow. All right. Are you seeing anything about the employees, like the instructors, and how, now they have off like 12 weeks at a time? Are you seeing anything with their contracts or them taking that time off or anything coming up like that?
Okay. So aside from like some people just taking, I think it's like taking a little bit time off because of travel or just for their own health reasons. Let's see about that whole instructor thing. I see somebody taking more time off than usual because I just see a break needed.
Okay.
And I think it's almost like I feel like overuse, whether they're just working out, they're just doing too much and they literally need, like doctors were like, you need to stop and you need to take this break. I do see that. We could see that in October of next year. We could see something around like a break for somebody. And then I feel like people are kind of getting nervous that this person might not come back, but they will. It's just that they need this break. And I do feel like after coming back from that break, it's just like a much needed break. It's like something they've been needing to take for a long time. And then they come back even stronger and better. I hate this card. I just pulled the 3 of Swords, which is like my heartbreak card. I feel like the community is going to get upset about something.
Well, that's every day. We're gonna have to call you on that one. That's not a hot take.
They do get upset about that page, the Peloton page on Facebook that I can't even look at.
Yeah, they
get upset about the stupidest things. But I think I think somebody's going to be leaving.
Oh,
and I think this is going to happen around August.
Oh,
and I feel like even the community of Peloton is upset about this because it's something that everybody needs to like. it's whether they I don't think they expected it, and they kind of like have to pull themselves together to just be like, all right, these things happen. This is life. Okay. It's not, I'm just getting like, it's not that deep. So just pull yourself together. But I do see that there could be, and I think this is almost like the person decides to leave. It's not like they get fired. It's not like there's bad blood.
It's just time to move on.
It's their time to move on. And you know, it's their moment to move on.
You're not getting a Daniel-esque vibe off of this.
I'm not. That's actually,
oh, thank God.
I got in my head. It was like, it's like a light. It was like, this is not Daniel. This is not Daniel. It's not that. I do feel like this person speaks up a lot. Like they say it like it is. They're not going to beat around the bush. They don't love, like, everybody isn't their best friend. They have like selected people that they do love.
Is this a leftover Kendall card? Is that what happened? Did one get stuck in the deck?
No, it's not Kendall. But I do have this person even right now is worried about it. Like they lose sleep at night because they know that there's it's like, you know, when you know that there's something else out there for you, but like you're scared to take that next step because it's like the what ifs.
Huh.
So I feel like this person, it definitely keeps them up at night. It's definitely a worry, and they're in their head a lot about it.
Male or female? Any vibes?
Let's see. You know, originally I got male, but it could be a female. It could be a female. I think there's. Let me pull a couple more. It doesn't want to tell me because it's like male, female. We don't know. And it's almost like I'm also getting that vibe where it doesn't matter. It's like it's telling me like it doesn't matter because this person is like just like a favorite to everybody.
Oh.
And I don't know if it's just they leave because they have something new. And it's something new, totally new on the table. I don't even know if it's related to fitness.
Interesting.
It could be family. It could be a new hobby or a new love or something else that's calling their name, that they know that they're going to succeed at and they're going to make a life with, but they're very good at this other thing too.
Huh. Okay. All right. What else is in your notes that you want to make sure we get to?
I'm getting a lot of the number 8, which 8 is like a really lucky number. And it's like the number, it's like the eternity number. So when I get like a number, I think I do see August being like a big month. I don't know if they're having more things within the studio for the community. I also got that I don't know if they're sending emails to healthcare workers, but because they kind of like acknowledging healthcare workers to like take the classes. I know sometimes they'll reach out to Peloton people that haven't been to the studio, but I see something kind of happening around like healthcare workers, nurses, doctors, something like that. Whether that's in August, I don't know, but I do see August being kind of like a pivotal month around things.
Interesting.
I'm going to pull a couple more. So I feel like these notes scatter me sometimes. So. I do see somebody getting recognition. I see this is maybe around another book. I think there's going to be a lot of books written. And there's somebody who's, and I know we talked about Mariana with the book and that, but this is somebody that like you kind of would least expect to write a book. Or if it's not a book, it's something that they have up their sleeve that it's like, whoa, like this came out of nowhere. Like we didn't even really understand, but I do see recognition around this. It could be Robin. And I know it sounds weird because we're like, oh, Robin always has all this stuff, but it's something that might just come out of nowhere with her and recognition about something, whether it's another book or something on the platform. And if it's not her, I think it's one of the other female instructors, either tread or bike, that we'll hear something coming about.
Okay. Are you getting
Do you guys have any other questions?
Yeah, I'm wondering about like the financial picture for Peloton. Are you getting any like?
Yeah.
Because last year you had lots of feelings, so I'm curious about this year.
Well, I did get the whole thing with like instructors and like kind of like there being some sort of financial thing going on. This is why they're not doing a lot of hiring. Like I feel like they have their eye on people, but they don't want to hire them, I think, because of the money situation. I think that it's almost like I'm getting the vibe or the feeling that they need to find the right person to manage their money, if that makes sense. I feel like everybody that's managing their money is doing it in the wrong way.
Okay.
And so I honestly think they may take on another new female for financial type things with Peloton. I don't know. They just brought somebody on, and I'm so bad at about that, listening to that or finding out about it. I know they just got a new CEO, so I don't think this is this person, but this is like a woman that comes on board that helps with the financial stuff and kind of gets like their ducks in a row.
Interesting.
I feel like this is going to this will be around the springtime, and I feel like there's already been like a contact with the specific person, and she's going to kind of put things together and make more money available or do more things to create more money for the company.
Okay.
Because I feel like either there's nobody doing that right now, or the person that's kind of doing that is just not knowing what they're doing. And I don't even know if that would be like the new CEO, if that's all of their job, but there's somebody that's going to like help with this. And I do see this happening in the springtime. I do see them picking up because a lot more financially than they are, like more gains. I do see them. There's a decision that they're making. You know, the team, not the instructors, the team is already like going back and forth with a decision around financial things. Like I feel like it's cutting stuff. It's not necessarily instructors, but whether raising prices somewhere along the line or doing something to make everything got financially better for the company.
Okay. All right. What about you, Tom? You have any questions about anything?
What's it look like for us?
Oh.
For the clip out.
Oh.
I know it looks good for us. But
so I just pulled my 8 of Pentacles cards, which means I love that card because the 7 of Pentacles means it's like you have a lot of work to do. And it's like,
she does.
Like you've done your work.
She does have a lot of work to do.
I feel like this year for you, there's going to be a relief because you're a lot, I think more people will you're going to get more listeners. And it's kind of like you've done, the hard work is paying off for you. That's basically what it is. I feel like there's going to be a lot more recognition for you guys. I got and a wish, and there's my wish card came up, and my yes card, which means yes. And so I think that there's good things on the table for you. I do see maybe even doing an interview with an instructor. I don't know why I'm getting Logan, and I love Logan. He's like, so nice. I love him. I'm getting him his face right. I don't know if it's something where he comes and talks to you guys, or you guys take a class of his, and something like that. But I do see great things coming for you. And I also do see a joining of somebody else coming on to your podcast, frequently. Because I know you have
Dr. Jen,
the woman,
Dr. Jen.
Yes, Dr. Jen. I know you have Dr. Jen. It's something kind of like that. Or it could be something with her that you guys are putting together for the near future. But I do see some, and it's funny because this card is a kind of deal with like medical type things too, like a medical person. So you guys could just be doing more things together that's really being put out there for people to notice.
Okay.
I love that.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for all the predictions.
Yeah, lots of fun. I love hearing all this stuff.
And if people want to see how she did in 2024, you want to see if this is even worth your time, you can see the article.
Now that we're done with the interview, I have to say that like you got Barry McCarthy leaving, and you got the exact month and everything. Like,
oh my gosh, I didn't even know that. So it's crazy.
It's like going back and like looking over everything and seeing the details of the big stuff. Like you also predicted the furloughs,
the instructor furlough
for the instructors.
I forgot. Yeah. And like I said to you earlier, I'm so bad. People will be like, you said this and you said that, and I totally forget.
Yeah.
It's just like I just kind of say.
I totally get it, and that's why I didn't want to give you too much to think about while you were doing this. But like for people listening, it's like it's really fascinating to go back and see the things you said and see what did come true and like the context behind the conversation. So thank you so much for doing this. It's always a pleasure.
I look forward to this every year.
I do too. It's become, like you said, it's a tradition.
Yeah.
And
and we haven't given her a chance to say her leaderboard name or where people can find her.
Yeah, of course. Sorry.
No, it's okay. So you can find me on the Peloton leaderboard at Fit Mom Erica Parra, and also on Instagram handle at FitMomErica. And if anybody uses Facebook, it's Erica McClean. And so, yeah, reach out to me anytime.
Okay.
Awesome.
And of course, you do a lot of your tarot readings right there on Instagram, which is fun too.
I do. Yes. Usually Monday through Friday, I have a card of the day.
Yeah,
So
that's a lot of fun.
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Have a good rest of your weekend.
You too. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
The Clip Out.
So I guess that brings this episode to a close. Until next week, where can people find you?
People can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Crystal O'Keefe. They can find me on all the socials, including Blue Sky at Clip Out Crystal and the leaderboard.
And you can find me on Blue Sky and Threads at Tom O'Keefe Jr. or on Facebook at facebook.com/Tom O'Keefe. You can find the show online at facebook.com/The Clip Out. While you're there, like the page, join the group. And of course, don't forget our Patreon at patreon.com/The Clip Out. $5 a month, all sorts of bonus content, ad-free episodes. And if we get it early, you get it early. So that's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, keep peddling
And running.
and rowing.
Clip in, set yourself